Despite the Yakuza series' cult status, mainstream success has always eluded it in the West. If you've never played a Yakuza game before, however, Yakuza Zero is a logical place to test the waters. It's the series' debut on PlayStation 4, and as a prequel to the first Yakuza game, it doesn't rely on pre-existing knowledge of its principal characters. More importantly, you should play Zero because it's a fascinating game that combines equal parts drama and comedy, and is unlike anything else out there. Such a statement is worth scrutinizing, so to be clear, it's Zero's flaws that leap out to you at first glance, be it some seriously outdated character models and textures, or the repetitive nature of combat. But where some elements languish from a lack of attention to detail, other facets of Zero are masterfully executed. Take the story, for example, which jumps back and forth from the perspective of two different Yakuza on opposite sides of Japan. Kiryu Kazuma is a young Yakuza gangster from Tokyo with an iron fist but a heart of gold, and he's caught in the middle of a battle between criminal organizations seeking to take control of a valuable piece of real estate. On the other side of the country in Osaka, we meet Goro Majima, a disfigured Yakuza masquerading as the manager of a grand cabaret. Also on the outs with his clan, Majima is sent on a mission to kill a troublesome business owner, but soon finds himself unable to complete the job for personal reasons. Zero takes its storytelling seriously. Nobody cracks jokes or makes empty threats. As such, the story is relentlessly tense, proving to be equal parts surprising and exciting from the beginning to the end. And while the game is only playable in Japanese with English subtitles, the energy and attitude behind most characters doesn't need to be translated. Bosses, or more appropriately captains, are often rendered with photorealistic facial features as well. Some textures go too far, revealing what looks like extreme cases of clogged pores, but blemishes aside, Zero's key characters look just as convincing as they sound. Almost across the board, however, Zero's other characters exhibit middling animations. Most NPCs look as though they were lifted from the series' PlayStation 3 entries, if not from a PlayStation 2 Yakuza game. Given that moving through the story missions is only half of the Yakuza experience, this is a reality you have to confront on a regular basis. Hand-to-hand combat is another key component of Zero that feels dated, despite any improvements made over past games. Both Kiryu and Majima feature different fighting styles, 3 varieties apiece. But Zero's straightforward beat-em-up trappings ultimately grow repetitive. By and large, you can choose one fighting style that works for you and focus on that for the entire game. The enemies you face on the street are somewhat diverse, and include the likes of lonesome drunks, bikers, and lowly Yakuza thugs. Thematically, the variety is appreciated, but mechanically, most enemies fight the same. At least Zero is nothing if not a brutally violent game. You will grind enemies' faces into the pavement, stick a bat in their mouth and kick the exposed end, and pile-drive thugs skull first into the street. And special takedowns like these add a necessary amount of flair to combat, saving fights from becoming truly rote. The more you play, the more apparent it becomes that Zero wants you to feel both like a badass Yakuza and like a participant in an absurdist comedy. No one will argue that a Yakuza on the run has time to pretend to be a random girl's boyfriend to impress her father, or stand in as a producer on a TV commercial. But the game's 100 ridiculous side stories are excellent palate cleansers that often elicit a chuckle, make you scratch your head in bemusement, and refresh your perspective. Traditional for the series, Zero also doesn't shy away from thrusting you into erotic situations, be it in the form of softcore porn video parlors, or in a minigame that involves betting on wrestling matches between 2 scantily clad women. At best, you can momentarily excuse its quote-unquote tasteless pursuits as a reflection of Japanese society in the late 80s, or accept them at face value as erotica. Stereotypically, however, Yakuza view women as objects to be manipulated, and this issue can't be avoided if Zero aims to present a realistic Yakuza tale. Just don't expect the game to address it in a meaningful way. Otherwise, Zero relentlessly adheres to its Japanese roots mostly for the better, and if you've ever traveled to Japan, the game's sights and sounds will instantly trigger fond memories and feelings of nostalgia. So unless you have a strong aversion to violence, sex, or middling graphics, you really owe it to yourself to give Zero a chance. Its story will surprise you, its inhabitants will make you laugh at every turn, and its ambitious scope will redefine how you think about open-world games. It's a fascinating adventure no matter how you approach it, and proof positive that a game can be wildly inconsistent, yet remain a great experience.